they'll lynch you. But he did, and he laughs at
Yes, everybody, us on the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Happy Friday. We've done another week. Congratulations. Well done. And obviously, we now mosey on down to London Stadium for another game of football on Sunday as we take on Arsenal in the Premier League. Top of the table, Arsenal. What can possibly go wrong? But as always, what we do the day after the night before is we do the ratings. So we'll be doing the ratings in a minute. I'll give my views on the game. Obviously, Anton provided his views immediately, sort of in the afternoon, in the evening, and we can talk a little bit about the other games as well. Of Anderlecht, for example, I was worried about AZ Alkmaar, but Anderlecht have taken a 2-0 home win into that second leg next week in Holland. You've got Fiorentina 4-1 away at Lecce Potsdam. They're definitely the team to look out for, I would suggest. A fantastic goal for Terry Moffey as well. Great sort of bicycle kick he scored as well. So it's it's definitely not in our hands, the trophy at the moment, particularly after that performance yesterday. Let's see, we've got the chat quickly. We can go through that in a minute. Yes, good point, actually, Adam. Obviously, we the West Ham Network pass on their sincere condolences to the West Ham fan who unfortunately passed away last night. He was at the Gent game, and on the way back, apparently was struck by a train in a tragic accident. So we pass on our sincerest condolences to his friends and family at this very, very sad time. No one expects you to go to the football and never come back, and so it was awful. Definitely, we should look at getting something done on Sunday. That's for sure. Usual Hustler says, play like that and it will be a bloodbath indeed. That's probably not the best way to have done that, but anyway, you know what I mean. Toby, hope you're well. We limp on. Yeah, exactly. We don't march on, we've limped on, basically. We limped through that game, I thought. West Ham, coming you irons. Hope you're well, mate. Cyril's in the house as well. Jiminy Bobby. Jiminy Billy Bob. Nice. Happy Friday to you too. So my views on the game, as Toby sort of said, we limped through it. It was a really frustrating game, we'd said before, and I said many times that, Ghent were going to be a tough side to crack. They were in form. They lost only 3 games this season at home. I think they'd won 7 on the bounce, or they're undefeated in 7. They had, Hugo Kloopers who scored it. I was saying, watch out for him, because if you give him half a chance, he will get in the old onion bag, and he did. I thought Orban looks like a real live wire. Reminds me of the Leeds winger, Notto. Sort of that sort of young, just full of energy, and he showed a couple of our defenders a set of clean heels quite a bit, which wasn't great. But it's it's all to play for in terms of the second leg. I hope now the old tickets for the game will go a bit faster now. I think people were probably waiting to see what the game was going to be like, and whether it was a foregone conclusion or whether there was still something in it before they bought the tickets. Unfortunately, I think that's sad, but I think that's how it's happened. So hopefully we'll have pretty much a packed house next Thursday, and the job's still there to be done. The fact is, if that's Ghent at their best, we were nowhere near our best at all. We haven't been for a while. We sort of have these fits and starts. It could be one of those games where we sort of next Thursday where we sort of turn up, and if we do turn up, I think we have enough to beat them. That's for sure. And looking an away draw, is it a bad thing in what we're doing in terms of this sort of cup competition? No, I don't think so. If it was in respect of maybe a league, then yeah, I think we should have got something there. But a draw, going back to London Stadium, obviously away goals don't count. But then looking at it again, I think Ghent beat Istanbul Başakşehir something like 5-1 in Istanbul. So they look dead. If you give that Orban guy a chance, he'll score. If you give Hugo a chance, he'll score. I thought Fofana played well from their side. I thought their centre backs looked good. Potentially, Patiowski, or I kept on calling him Wazowski. Mike Wazowski, he should have been sent off, but he shouldn't have been, and that was rightfully flicked by VAR. It's a good tackle. So yeah, obviously we won't have Angelo Bonner, and we'll talk about that when we go through the ratings. He's obviously suspended for the next game. I think we've got 3 players on yellow cards now who could miss the semi-finals, which will be against either Anderlecht or AK Alkmaar. But let's see what everyone else says. I like their striker quality. Do you mean Hugo, or I think you mean Orban, to be honest? I'm happy with the result. Take a tie back to London Stadium. There's still a lot of job to do. Won't be as hard as a Sevilla game last season, going from a goal down. Exactly. And I think, we need to.
Glad we're on the same page.
There we go. I think because we've had it so easy in the conference, people think we're going to walk it. I think that's the overreaction. And also the fact is we didn't play well. I mean, I don't think we strung 3 passes together the whole game. Realistically, maybe once or twice, but not like consistently. It was very sloppy. All our touch seemed to be really heavy, particularly I'd say in the forward areas. It seems to have a really heavy touch. The amount of times, and Ludder's in the chat, the amount of times we lost the ball from throw-ons as well. Frustrating. Very frustrating. Although we did sort of score from a throw-on, really, because we actually took a quick throw-on for once, and just says if you keep that ball momentum going, you can catch teams out on the hop. That's what happens to us all the time. I feel like Gent showed more and more that youth is the way forward. Doubt he'll learn from it. No, indeed, we can't score, and that's our problem. Until we start scoring, we will win nothing, says Ludders. They'll be our best for 18 months. Totally right. There's been a mass overreaction from the fan base by the way we set up and the result. This is a game of 180 minutes, not 90. It's true. And, it's cup football, isn't it? It's 2 legs cup football. So I think, to be honest, Adam, I think even if we won the game 1-0, 2-1, something close to that, there would have been an overreaction as well. But I think the way we need to look at it is it's all to play. It's in our hands, basically. If we turn up, I'm pretty sure, if we turn up on next Thursday, which is, to say we turn up or not is another question. I think we've got enough to get past Gent. I think we've got enough in intensity. I think, we missed a trick for not playing Cornet. I mean, you saw the difference that Paqueta did when he came on. We didn't have that drive in midfield. And it wasn't the fact of Downs and Rice in terms of what they were, their overall gameplay. It was the setup. It was the formation. There was no drive in midfield to bring it forward. And so, Paqueta comes in and straight away he's on the front foot. And I think that makes a massive difference. And hopefully we go, obviously we'll talk about the Arsenal game later on and stuff, but we go into that game, hopefully, not getting better all season, going backwards. Lanzini had a poor game. I thought he was more involved. I don't even know what role he was playing, what position. He seems to be all over the bloody place, like quite a free role. If we played okay, but we'll come back to that. The last 8 are all good sides. There's no gimmies, and it's totally right, Adam. And I think the trouble is, I think we assume it is because it's these, farmers. Someone said, "Oh, we due to some farmers." No, we didn't. This side, a professional side. They're 4th in the league. They're no mugs at all, and they are. I mean, Larnaca were a little bit like that, a little bit farmers, in all honesty. Still professional side though, but I think Gent are a step above. And obviously you see, and what I don't think is going to be great is if, say, we do get through, and say Anderlecht do get through as well, the assumption is we're going to go through. But Anderlecht have improved so much since we've played them. So again, we'll have that apprehension with that, okay, we've got to beat them, but actually we will beat them, but actually they're a tough side. And also we're playing the first tie at home, which makes a massive difference as well. The football star's been atrocious for a long time. Marge Simpson impression coming along nicely. For those of you, it's not Marge Simpson, it was the woman out of Monsters Inc., Mike Wazowski. Decent result on only half time, indeed. What's the point in taking Cornet and diving and Divin and not giving minutes? Yeah. Thoughts for Sunday? Yeah. I think as who said up at I think as usual suspect said, I think if we play like we did on Sunday, it's gonna be a bad day in the office for West Ham. And we've seen what Newcastle could have done, what it did to us and I don't think, in all honesty, I think Arsenal got far more firepower than them. So it's going to be interesting to see what Moyes does in terms of the setup. You imagine the likes of Paqueta will get minutes. Paqueta will be back in the side. You may imagine someone like Cornet may get a run in, but then he hasn't started, he hasn't played anything, so he'll be on the bench. So that may mean Ben Rama comes back in. We'll do the starting 11s and stuff over the next couple of days. We played half a first team and playing in a stubborn way, whereas they played a full strength. If we play our strongest side, we win the game. I agree. Won't be surprised if we get done on Thursday. We are 2 footers in front of goal. Ludders is having a lovely Friday, but it sounds of it. The reaction is because we are now stuck in mundane mediocrity football. And Paul, we probably will be until the summer. So for a lot of people, they say, "Oh, Moyes, look, it ain't fucking going nowhere until the end of the summer. Until the summer at the earliest, in my opinion." So, the football's not going to be great. It's not going to be exciting. It's not going to be boring. But if we get the results, that's all we need at the moment. Is just get the results, and we can look at the football in the summer. After the loss to Arsenal, Moyes should leave. I don't think he will, mate. Had Jehovah's Witness knock on the door. Wish he was a Millwall fan. No attacking coach and a defensive mentality. What do you expect? Indeed, we have had about enough. We have had enough, but Moyes will not listen to back. It's Moyes' way or the highway. Very good. Arsenal will rip us up like a rabid dog. Didn't know they still exist. Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, they do. We need Cornet Max Sharp for the league, so why not play him yesterday? I totally agree. Not having a goal for it still makes the rest of the season hard work. It certainly does, Peter. Although I would imagine Mr. Gianluca will be back. Probably maybe not for the Arsenal game, but maybe for the next Thursday. I would imagine. He did say 2 weeks, and that was last. Was that last Thursday? Was that the last press conference? The press conference before that, I can't remember. So we'll be welcoming back in, and then hopefully that's actually 2 up front, isn't it? That's the 2 we want. I know we can't pin hopes on Schumacher, but for me, if he wants to play 2 up front, he's got to play 2 up front with Schumacher and Ings. It's so clearly obvious to everyone, apart from Mr. Moyes, it seems. That's your duo. And we might. And in terms of tonight, Irish Tommy isn't around to do late shows, but me and Anton are probably going to be doing the late show tonight and talk about the exodus, the summer exodus, all the players that are going to be leaving, and then and to discuss about that, because I think it's important to say, and we will discuss about the manager, about as well as West Ham coming on and said he's not going anywhere until the end of the season. You can take it to the bank. There you go. You can take it to the bank. So what we might do is do a thing about players leaving, what we know so far, and what we've heard, and what we've seen, what have been rumoured in terms of the departures in the summer, and yeah, maybe we'll touch on the manager as well. We do have a goal prep, we do, but I just don't. I wouldn't say Antonio really. If you play the way we've been playing, Arsenal will destroy us. Hopefully they do their usual and fall to pieces. Pete on poll, the Arsenal Matchday DJ was in the chat yesterday, and he reckons he thinks they're gonna really crumble in the next couple of weeks. If Mill get promoted and we stay up, is that a scary match to DJ? I've done it before. Didn't we? Back in the old girl, and you'll be very careful. And afterwards, the police want to know exactly what songs you're playing to make sure you're not playing anything like, I predict a riot, 2 tribes go to war, what? Yeah, what is it good for? All those types of things. Saturday night's all right for fighting. You've got to be so. But we'll see. Declan needs to go. He's not a captain, and I'm tired of his antics. Interesting. I thought I think actually the last couple of games, Rice has been shown. Has done some, I think, almost captain's performances. I don't think he has. I've criticised him before. I think the last couple of games, I'm thinking, particularly the game at the weekend, you saw a different Declan Rice, more composed slightly, less wanting to do it all himself as well. But hey, different opinions. Schumacher leaving for sure. Haller 2.0. We'll see about that. We'll see what happens. Our issue is that we lack creativity. Very true. During half time, half of the London Stadium seats will be empty. Well, they will be happy. Well, during half time, that usually does happen because people go for a drink. So that's what happens, mate. Our issue is that in terms of that, I think we rely on Paqueta, don't we? I think when you have Paqueta, Benrahma, and Emerson, that little triangle works really well. But what you don't get is you don't get any pace. There's no pace in those 3. I'd love to see Schumacher come back into that and just dropping off, taking it, taking it on to Paqueta, giving it to him and back. Ings running on little dinks over the top. It's easy. It's easy. Just play. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Or that's what friends are for. All that type of thing. GP likes that. Rice is tired. I think he would be. Wouldn't you? I think we miss his 4 nails in the miss his energy. Yeah, the rumours the other day, that Schumacher is going to Atalanta of £22 million. I think that's. I don't think we're going for that price if he does go. I think you're looking at probably about 30 at least. There will be a number of Italian clubs after him, that's for sure, and no doubt he will be looking at options. Obviously, he dropped his agency for a new agency. Although CAA Stella don't tend to be more Serie A based, they tend to be more Premier League and Bundesliga based. Whereas his previous One Global, were more Serie A based in terms of their clientele. So it's quite interesting, but we'll see. I think the trouble is, someone like Schumacher, it depends about. I think, in all honesty, it's who comes in to as the next manager of West Ham. I genuinely think so. I think the club. I mean, there is a player there. We know there's a player there. You have to be played to his strengths. So you have to get him. You have to get someone in. I mean, the classic example is looking at someone like Moyes and Ings. Moyes has come out in the press and said Ings does not suit playing one up front. But every time he plays him, bar the Fulham game, he played one up front with him, and so. He doesn't play that position, but you play in that position. And Schumacher is the same. Schumacher is very similar to Haller in that respect. Schumacher tends to play in a 2 with Raspadori, and they would interchange to, a striker and a 10. And you see that in terms of the way Schumacher drops off and picks the ball up in midfield and brings it forward, but there's no one there to push it onto. And also in terms of Haller was the same. He played in front of a 3 with Kosic and Jovic. Was it Kosic and Jovic? Yeah, I think so. And so, then you play him on one of his own. So it's the same thing. Obviously, Philbert thought he was stupid to throw the ball in frustration, get necessary booked. Indeed, now he's on the tightrope. He's been superb, works hard, and does offer set piece traits. Has said that he wants to go because of Moyes, but Moyes is going to the end of the season, so watch his space. We're going to talk at West Ham coming. I'm going to talk all about that later on. We'll talk about that on tonight. No stop sound. Yeah, just continual sound. I wouldn't mind us swapping Scam for Tammy. Yeah, not bad. Big teams try to get away without a booking when they do that. You lot stop being shiny. Proud to be a Geordie. Do what they say. Hit the button. Hit the button. We should sell Schumacher because you should get rid of player with knee problems as they tend to be recurring, but couldn't sell at a loss. Indeed, Epic, very true. But the thing was, when we bought him, he didn't have this knee problem. I think he missed something like 5 games in his whole career for his injury. But anyway, we know Moyes won't change the system to a striker. We know put a bid in for Mane in the summer. Well, he's kicking off everyone else in Bayern Munich at the moment. That's exactly what that definitely won't pass the Moyes MOT test, or whoever's new comes in their MOT test. But anyway, let's start with some. Let's start with some lovely ratings, shall we? Let's have a nice depressing afternoon. Let's start with Areola. As always, I'll give you my thoughts. We have put the scores in 1 to 10. No half points. It's only 4 points. Areola, let's bring up my notes. For Areola. So, do you know what? I was really, one of the things that people say about Areola, his distribution is so good. Was it? I thought it was bloody poor yesterday. I thought the amount of times he kicked the ball out was probably comparable, if not worse, than a Fabianski standard game. They say that's what people say about Areola. He's got great distribution. He was very poor yesterday, I thought, with his distribution. Obviously, he kept his perfect record for Europe, starting in every game, making his 11th Conference League appearance. Only him and Lanzini, the only two to do it. Little to do in the first half. Couple of stops, but not really. So they were towards him. Very routine saves. I mean, the first thing he had to do was basically take the ball at the back of the net from Hugo Lopez, whose shot was, no keeper would have saved that. Orban almost got him for the bicycle kick. Didn't do much wrong, but didn't do much of note either. The one thing that really frustrates me about Areola is he is a big lad. He's like 6'5", something like that. But he doesn't act like a big lad in terms of the box. He doesn't command his box, and Obviously, Fabianski had that timeout. That was a great time for Areola to come in and really cement his position, be that dominant keeper. Command the box. There's a reason why he hasn't got into. He's lost. He's not France #1 either, because although he hasn't played games, it's that same trait, and so it's a reason maybe why he hasn't ever got like a proper first team stint without being on loan to somewhere. It does really frustrate me. Great shout by Adam. Great shout by Adam. Reminds you of Davy James. Yeah. But JMO, when he came for a cross, he comes for a cross. You wouldn't you'd get out your way. Areola doesn't do that. As I said, I watched at the Newcastle game. You watch Nick Pope. The way Nick Pope is, and he's about an inch or two smaller than Areola, I believe. He knows it. If it's his ball, he's gone for it. And that's what really winds me up about him, because I think he's got so much he could do, so much. Anyway, let's see what we got. Was right, Oggy. Yeah, me too. Send some lasagna, not pizza. Send them lasagna. What time? Probably about, if we do it, it'd be about 10 o'clock tonight. 6. Except the guard say 7. 6. His distribution is a myth. I agree. 6. Sloppy distribution. Not just to see out to everyone, although it wasn't very good. 6. Terry the Baker's in here. Check him out on Twitter. Smashing it. About 65,000 subscribers now. Followers. I don't know, TikTok. I don't know what his followers on TikTok. But if you want a nice, so if there's nothing to watch on the telly, go on TikTok, watch Terry when he does his lives, and you can bake with him. He has his songs. It's really good. Love Tell. 6 didn't have much to do. If we stayed up, we need a better keeper than these two we have. I totally agree, Peter. 6, Russ makes all the players become poor. All crap. There we go. Reminds you that your team has been affected with Moyes is like an artist. 6, Areola always be number 2. I agree. Why is your hammer different colour green? It should even be colour blue. No, it's not. It's based on how long you've become a member. So as you become a member, the longer you've been, your hammer thing will change. I think the top one is red. I can't remember. Moyes has coached the confidence that these players next to be Hackney Marsh. That's why Cyril has got a green one, and it will change. It'll be green. I think it's red. There's blue. There's yellow. There's orange. So based on the length of your membership. Mine's peach. Congratulations. So 6 and 7s, so to speak. Russie B actually gave him a 6. Gave him a 6. And we know Fabianski will be back between the sticks on Sunday anyway. Emerson. Obviously, we didn't talk about the formation. We went back to 3 at the back. We've been playing 4 at the back, I think, pretty much the whole of the season. The whole of this year, this calendar year. And it might have been the first or maybe the second time we've gone back to that back 3. And I thought that might have been a bit of a mistake, in my opinion, because actually, did you really need the 3 at the back? I don't think you did. I know Gent play 3 at the back. Did we match them? They've got a very similar manager to Moyes in that they know exactly the team that's going to be played, barring the injuries and the formation. Very predictable. But they didn't necessarily. I think we were matching them rather than imposing them. And, I think 4 at the back, I think for us that is a bit better, to be honest. But anyway, Emerson, unlucky to have been replaced by Cresswell, I think, for that Fulham game, but he was back in. I thought Soufal was quite strong down the right. Emerson was okay on the left. That wasn't as good as he normally is. He was positioned much deeper, I'd say, than usual. I think the fact is you got Auburn and their right winger was pushing him. He couldn't do as much as he wanted to do going forward. Didn't really do too much in terms of setup, but a decent showing. Yes, Billy, we did that right at the beginning. Awful, absolutely awful stuff. As I said, you never expect to leave for the football and never come back in it. So obviously, condolences to his family and friends as well. 7, 7, 7, 6, 7. Decent left back. 7. One of our most improved players. Alan, I think he's probably in my eyes, the best signing we've had this summer. In terms of integrating themselves into the first team. Emerson's relatively seamless since he's been selected. So there we go. Do you think Moyes will play Water against Arsenal? No. I think he'll play Emerson. I just think there's that pace. Arsenal really quick. I gave Emerson a 6. I gave Emerson a 6. I don't know why I haven't got the screen, but that's what I gave him. I gave him a 6. I thought it was an okay game. Let's talk about Angelo Ogbonar. So let's take off Peter's comment there. Angelo obviously played quite surprisingly the Fulham game, and thought he played very well. He was one of 5 players they kept, and I didn't think he'd put so many players from that game in. The ones he did, I thought necessarily, I'd have probably put Cresswell in yesterday rather than and gone kicked that back 4, but hey. He was the anchor, so to speak. I said anchor in the back 3 with Agard and with Ben Johnson. I thought it led the line well. Some big headers, big clearances as Luddes went over in his shoulder, and we were all like, ugh, but he was all right. Got booked in the first half. I think quite a harsh one. I think they're definitely the ref was a bit card happy on our side. Obviously, that means he can't play in the next game, which may mean he might either play at the Arsenal game or he's available for the Bournemouth game as well. I mean, the ball sort of went through his legs for the equaliser. I don't think he really put him at fault. A couple of last minute challenges in there for Gent. I thought it was quite a good game for him. We got 6, 7, 6, 6, 6. He is 34 indeed. 7. I'd play Oggy versus Arsenal. Play Zuma on Thursday. I think it's the other way around. I think obviously he can't play Thursday, idiot. Oggy does what he has to do to get on with it. 7 gives it his all. Playing for a new contract. I think so. He's one of the ones that I think are on the mass exodus list potentially, and we'll talk about that later on. Oggy is up there with Potts, Monker, such a good servant for the club. 7. Moyes not playing any of the Premier. Well, he did play for the Fulham game, didn't he? So 7s and 6s, things like that. I gave him a 6. Gave him a 6. Let's move on. Let's talk about Naif back in the side. Lost his place against Fulham. Recalled. He got to the last 16 last year when he was at Rennes against Leicester. It's Leicester City. Definitely more comfortable in possession than he was against Newcastle. Much of what he was doing was basically clearances, in all honesty. Had the VAR overruled his goal. I couldn't see. It was handball, but his back towards the goal. So how can you know that the hand unless you've got your eyes in the back of your head, like your mum used to say? Possibly beaten too easy by Auburn in terms of the build-up for the equaliser. But again, did some recovery runs as always. He does cover Ogbonna in terms of that pace. And not a great showing, but he was okay, I thought. Looked a shadow of a player a month ago. 5, 5, 6, very up and down. Looks pants as GP. 6 for Agard. I gave him a 6 as well. I think that Newcastle game took the stuffing out of him. That's for sure. But there's a player there. We know there's a player there. Same as everyone really. Ben Johnson, he hates play. That might be a good shout actually, Toby. Maybe it is. There's definitely a lack of communication between Areola and whoever plays in the centre backs. If they played 2 with Zuma and again, despite the fact we thought they'd be perfect because they all speak French, and I think it's because Areola doesn't command his box. I think Fabianski, not saying he's a great goal, he's still a good goalkeeper, but he knows when to come, when not to come, and Areola doesn't have that, in my opinion. He's not afraid to go forward on. He's totally right. Right, let's talk about Benny Boy Johnson. Not a great game for Benny Boy Johnson. More used to playing right back or right wing back. He was playing at the back 3 on the right hand side. He's done that several times, particularly when he was at the under-21s. Mixed showing, let's say, to be fair. It was some good defensive clearances, good blocks, but definitely second half more vulnerable as Gent got more and more into the game. He got beaten by Hugo just before the shot, and to be honest, the whole back line didn't come under much credit for that goal. And I think Gift Orban basically gave him problems pretty much the whole of the second half. Wasn't a great game by him at all. But 2 nil beyond useless. 4 can't pass the ball. Surprisingly, he's come through. People are built to be well. I mean, he could be. I mean, there was talk the other week of Man United looking at him in the summer. Johnson, where do you start? 3. You can only be judged by one full season. Tell you 1 from Johnson. 3 is a championship player at best. 4, 5, 3. Ariola didn't seem to have a problem when at Fulham. True, but he came in at an early start, and they could build. Thing is, Ariola hasn't been playing. It's been Fabianski has been the number 1, and now Ariola comes in when there was injuries and stuff, and there was no continuation. I think he came in as number 1 at Fulham, didn't he? And I think they probably was Bill, but I think I didn't watch Fulham's games as closely as I did when I watched West Ham's games. So I think there probably was maybe a lack of communication sometimes, but they could build that in the summer. They could build that understanding. They've come into it, both Aged and Ariola, in essence, halfway through the season. So it's like, maybe with a full season behind them, but I just don't think Ariola has that physicality as for a goalkeeper, which is what you need. You need a goalkeeper who's going to barge their way through. And like you saw, I think he was in the first half. The lad's like Bill. He didn't hit the punch properly, and it went straight. Literally, just went like a yard in front. The guy took a shot. Yeah, he did a good reaction shot on save on his feet, but that could have been a goal. He just doesn't. I think he's a great shot stopper, a great goalkeeper, but I just don't think he's the one for us. He hasn't shown me enough. He obviously hasn't shown Moyes enough to have this transition. We could have, Fabianski gets injured. You've got 4 or 5 games at least to be number 1. Prove me wrong why I need to put Fabianski in. And he hasn't really. Granted, a lot of those goals aren't his fault, but he hasn't done anything, I think, to sort of, I don't know, he frustrates me as a goalkeeper. He's overrated. 2 good things, but the bad things override the goods. I gave him a 5. I mean, maybe I could have given him a 4. A very poor game for him. 5's a poor score for me, to be honest. Let's talk about Vladimir on the other side, playing right wing back, and obviously hoping to get more forward, given a license to attack. He had a lot of space out the right. I think he played very high up in the first half, caused a lot of problems, particularly also the long throw-ons as well. Why we start doing them halfway through the season, 3/4 of the way into the season. And there were some half chances early on, particularly from the throw-ins. I think there was one where Ings was slightly out of position and should have got on the end of it. Obviously, quick thinking for the throw-on caused Gent napping. They were too busy high-fiving each other with Bowen teeing up Ings to score the goal. Harshly booked in the second half, I think, considering the opposition basically tripped over his own feet. But that's why he's frustrated. That's why he threw the ball away and stuff. But I think he was the best out of the back 5. I think him and Bowen work well together. They have an understanding, and there is something about keeping partnerships together. And I think for me, Bowen and Soufal is a good partnership, which they have been working on for the last couple of seasons now. I thought he had a good game. Man of the match 7 is an issue. It hasn't been played for a decent run, but GP he did. He's had a decent. He's had half a dozen games, didn't he, when Fab was out, but didn't show enough for me, in my opinion. Just didn't show enough for me, and obviously didn't show enough for Moyes. As soon as you could tell, as soon as Fabianski was fit again, straight in. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Needs to calm down a bit, and that not over yet, but that is good on that side. That's him indeed. The ref gets 0. You're totally right. I also gave Vladimir a 7, so I thought he played quite well. I thought he had a good game. Let's move on. Let's talk about Declan Rice. Obviously kept his place from the Fulham game. And him and Downs had quite sturdy, I think, base for Manu to work off. In a side where we didn't have particularly great performances, I think Rice was probably my man of the match. Not his best game at all, but when we tried to transition from defence into attack, it was often Rice who's the one who's bringing it forward. Loads of clearances as always. Particularly, it was a first half, there was a counter attack. He did a great clearance from. Good passing as well from his long range passing. We need to stretch play. We didn't do it enough for my liking, but I thought I thought he played. I thought he played very well. That is my hammer of the year at the moment. Did Cornet get in? No, he didn't get on. 7, 7, 8. There's proof. Moyes is prepared to mix it up with now instructing long throw-ons. Well, he did. Don't remember Antonio used to do long throw-ons as well, but he was the one you wanted to do the long throw-on too, which never really worked. 7s and 8s for Declan Rice. I'm rattling through these because I've got going back to work in a minute. I actually gave Declan Rice 7 and my man of the match. Right, let's talk about his sort of defensive partner, Flynn Downs, for a bit. 7 solid, too young to be captain. I think he's got better. London Stay, unfortunately, he's not. No, that was 7, 6, 7. Showed a bit of passion. Yeah, nice to see, wasn't it? Now, let's talk about Flynn back in the side. Was handed a rare start in midfield. A start which I think we wanted to see for a long time. Obviously, no Souček was in the squad as well in the starting lineup, which was good. I think he was found guilty of a foul and booked, but it was a really good challenge. I thought it was really harsh again. Good pace as passing as well. A few times got caught off. Obviously, Paqueta came on with 20 minutes to go, and I think changed the dynamic of midfield. But I thought we did well. 7, 7. Yeah, exactly. You tell like the booking done him. You're totally right. Not Areola. Not good enough, says Jiminy Billy Bob. 7, 6. Compared to Souček 9, 7 always tries to was a West Ham fan, so I gave him a 6. I thought he wasn't as I thought Deck was top, and I thought he was second. Manu, obviously he is the other player who's started every European game this season for us. Kept the ball well. I thought he was looking busy, looking to try and keep busy all the time. Obviously, he was in the more advanced role, which is something he doesn't tend to play. Tends to play sort of that more quarterback role. He's playing more of a 10, I sort, but he's all over the place. Didn't really create anything. Did a lot of was busy, but I can't think of anything to note where he created something. He sort of lacked that cutting edge in that 10. I mean, he's not usually taken off these European games, but he was after the hour mark. Maybe due to a lack of creativity, I don't know. But there was nothing really happening. He was busy getting involved. There was nothing really happening. 5, 10 as HH might be lurking. Indeed, yeah. 6, 5, 5. I actually gave him a 5 as well. It wasn't a great game for me for Manu. I thought it just didn't work. It was, as I said, I can't think of any sort of passing involved. He tries to command the game, but doesn't do it like he used to. Yeah, I agree. Moyes has to use more Lanzini this year. I don't think he does, Jimmy Bob. I don't think I know Anton's really big about Lanzini, but I don't think he does. I think he's more suited to a European game. He's quite lightweight as a player. He doesn't dominate. For now it seems there's not many, and there used to be like the likes of David Silva and people like that. So these diminutive sort of players in the midfield. Now they're all quite big lads. Paquet is a big lad. Obviously Declan Rice is 6'1", 6'2". I think they're skillful, but they can play it. They can put it out a bit as well. Even people like Odegaard and stuff like that from Arsenal, Gundogan. These guys are good midfield players, but they're not sort of small. Lanzini's quite a small player. I think that's why he's more suited to the European game. But again, it's my opinion. Bowen. Where's Skamaka? Skamaka's injured. We're back next week, I think. Right, where we go? Where's my thing? Obviously, I think his first half performance was brilliant. I thought he was constantly on the attack. Got the assist with Danny Ings. Second half, not so much. He was the source. I mean, first half was the source of almost every chance we had. It was his corner also that led to Aged's disallowed goal. The keeper sort of throw it on him. His quick think in terms of Soufal's quick thinking, teed him up to then cross it for Ings. Probably should have found the target when we were 1-1, but wasted the chance at the end of Paqueta's pass. I think Paqueta came on and made a real difference, I thought. But I thought he had a good game. 7, 7. I never agree with Anton. Russ, I do. There we go. 77777. But shot near the end. You're totally right, Irons lady. I gave him a 7 as well. So we're on the same page. Nice to see. Let's crack on with who's next? Danny Ings. It was his 8th career appearance in Europe, and I believe it was his first goal in Europe, or was the other? Yeah, something like that. And I mean, first off, hardly touched the ball, but when he did, striker's instinct, scores a goal. And that's what we've missed. We've missed someone who has that striker Tony Cottee instinct of when to be in the box and when not to be in the box, and he did, and it was a great goal. It was probably the easiest goal he's ever going to score, tapping, but don't care, he's gone in. Won a few fouls. That was sort of his main contribution really to the game. I mean, he hasn't got the physical presence of an Antonio to hold it up. We know that, but he tried his bloody hardest, I think. He got the job done. But that was it, really. I think it was a good, it was a goal, but that was it. G'day, Kieran. Hope you're well. Tough one to watch indeed. Get used to it. We still got that for the rest of the season. 6. Wasting on negative approach. He is 8. Should have scored because he scored 9. 7 just for the goal. I gave him a 6. And actually, no. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna give him a 7. I'll give him a 7 because he scored a goal. Thinking about it. I felt sorry for him as well because he couldn't really do much. I'm going to zoom through these quickly. 7, 6. Might be sick of not getting used properly. Looks frustrated a bit, but it's not his fault. I totally agree, Alan. Benny came on, didn't do much. Did very little when he came on. He was, we broke away on the left-hand side, but he didn't really do what we wanted to do, to be honest. Antonio came on, gave us a bit of one out. I think Antonio gives us that. And I'm not his greatest fan, but he gave us that sort of, and I thought he would have started on yesterday, to be honest, rather than Ings start. But Antonio gave, particularly with again, they've got 3 really big centre halves, and so you didn't really. So for me, it's like you don't play an Ings, you play an Antonio and just let him go. And he came on with like half an hour to go, something like that, and gave us a bit more outlet up front. And obviously then we could aim at sort of counter-attacking a bit more, get the long balls up to him, the knocks on, things like that. Should have scored. I think he should have scored. There should have been towards the end of the second half, ball came through and he should have scored that. But no, it was an okay cameo from him. Yeah, missed a sitter again. Yeah, he did. Wasn't really a sitter, but he should have done it a lot better. Maybe taking it on rather than trying to curl it in. And then we had Paqueta came on, like he did when we played Anderlecht. I think the last time he was in Belgium, he came on with 15 minutes to go, and just gave us that inspiration. That little bit of quality we lacked. I thought. You're thinking, why? I mean, he came on straight away, and then he found that great through ball to Bowen, who should have probably done better, but his effort went wide. And that was probably West Ham's best chance on goal. And that was literally him just coming on the pitch. With less than 20 minutes, he was our most creative player, I think, statistically. There's a good chance from Antonio. As I said, when he flicked it through, and Antonio, should have done better. Sort of won the late free kick penalty, which wasn't, and then went back. But again, showing some intent, and relatively short cameo, but showed what he can do, and shows what he can do when he plays in a more advanced position as well. I think, he was pushing forward a little bit more as well, and Deck was doing the more holding role, and he was pushing forward, and hopefully he can take that through. Thinking if he started next Thursday, we'd have more creativity, more shots on target, and then more chances to score. So as I said, when we look at statistics, they say statistics and damn statistics. But if you looked at them, we are always high up in terms of the chances created, but we're not scoring them. So if we increase the amount of chances we create, we might increase the chances of scoring. But look like our best player. Well, he only played 20 minutes, so I'm not giving him a score. Is the man a real player? Totally right. Anyway, I think Benny is trying to stick to the manager's plan, so he won't go left out again. Not as good as he was earlier. No, but I think even then he's stuck to that plan. I just think he's gone through. He just goes through peaks and troughs like everyone does at the moment. It seems. So that's my brief synopsis of the game. As I said, we move on. We'll have the press conference a little bit later on. We'll then have everything ready for the game coming up next on the old what's it called, on Sunday. Anton will be doing all the bits and bobs as per usual. And yeah, what we got here, let's do it. I haven't done my members draw. We haven't done a members draw for a while, so let me do a members draw. As I said, anyone who's a channel member gets automatically entered into a draw. Next, let me get the prizes for next two months. Not this month. Oh, why is my camera unplugged? Oh, let's put that back in. Oh, let's put it back in. For some reason, my camera has disappeared. Why has my camera disappeared? Oh, brilliant. Where's my camera gone? Where's my camera gone? My camera's disappeared. Just as I was going to show you, guys, your fantastic prize. Wait, if not, I have to use the horrible camera. I don't know where that's gone. Right, let me change the camera. Let's change it to the horrible camera on the. Does that work? Does that work? Ah, no! Why is it not working? Oh dear. I don't know why it's not working. I do apologise. Don't know what's going on there. That one? Ah! Anyway, I'll show you tomorrow. I'll show you tonight what the prizes are. We'll do the prize draw for this. Let's present my screen. We'll do that. We'll do the prize draw, and then I'll bugger off and try and figure out what's going on my camera, because I don't know what's going on my camera. Right, let's stop that. Why is this not working now? Oh God, what's going on? What is going on? Hope you're enjoying this slight technical difficulties we're having. I know I did. Don't know what happened there. Don't want prizes, just a kiss from Rust. Fair enough. Let's share my screen. See if that works. Oh, what's going on now? Now this isn't working now. What's happened? What is happening? Entire screen. Let's try and do this one. I don't know what I've done, lads. Don't know what I've done. I don't know what I've done. 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 I don't know what I've done. I have no idea what I've done. I've done something, and it's all buggered up. I pressed the button. I put my things. It's me getting off my seat. That's the trouble. You certainly can't beat it. Rust 3 camera trouble, indeed. I don't know what's happened there, but anyway, right. Just to prove it, I'm not going to do the draw now. I'm going to do the draw at 10 o'clock tonight, because I don't want to say, oh, this person's won it, and I can't prove it. So I'm going to do it tonight. Keep an eye out tonight, and then I'll be back 10 o'clock, all that good stuff. Thanks for joining me. If you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it one of those bloody good subscribes. It'll be very, very nice. Much appreciated. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye. Have a lovely Friday.